Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Mariscal Guzman, and today I'll be doing a quick briefing on mass deportations and family separations on the southern border. So within this briefing, I'll be highlighting a key issue I foresee in the upcoming administration with an immigration process at the southern border. And I'm specifying the southern border because immigration can occur in various aspects or areas in the country, but today I'll be focusing on the southern border. So this is an important topic as it will be a priority within the Trump agenda as an administration plans to implement restrictionist immigration policies and mass deportations. So of course, this is a concern as there were reports during Trump's previous administration by the Government Accountability Office expressing their concern within the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Health and Human Services of mismanagement and inefficiencies in the immigration detention process. So what they found was that it was a very outdated. It was the immigration detention process is a very outdated data processing system, and they're unable to manage large quantities of migrants crossing the border. And as a result, this creates a very flawed system that leads to family separations. So in the incoming administration, we are expecting the Trump administration to deport thousands of immigrants um, during its time, and it will most likely lead to family separations. So, of course, there must be a call to action for the department to ensure that in case of mass deportation, steps are taken to prevent family separations and to implement an efficient system to keeping families together. So, of course, this is a really important issue to take under consideration. Um, I believe the nominees from both the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and the nominee of Attorney General Pam Bondi, and nominee for Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. should take what I'm going to talk about today into consideration. So there must be a better system in order to identify the families and loved ones of those who are being deported, especially once they cross the border, and where the parents and or legal guardians or children will be detained and processed. So now I will briefly discuss the background to better understand the restrictionist immigration policies implemented during the first Trump presidency and the impacts post zero tolerance memorandum had at that time. So in April 2018, the Attorney General Jeff Sessions wrote and released the zero tolerance memo. And within this memo, the Department of Justice prosecutors, um, the memo allowed the Department of Justice prosecutors to accept for criminal prosecution all referrals from Department of Homeland Security of offenses related to improper entry into the United States. So the memo was written and released without DHS nor HHS's full understanding, nor its gravity of the enforcement implications. So as a result, mass family separations occurred, with parents placed in criminal detention centers and children, taken into custody of Homeland Security of Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement. So these children were classified based on their age and whether they arrived with a family member. Otherwise, they were identified as an unaccompanied, unaccompanied alien children, otherwise known as UAC. So the lack of awareness of the Attorney General's zero tolerance memo meant that DHS and HHS were not well equipped to handle mass deportations nor family separations. In late June of 2018, a court determined that families should be reunited, and former President Trump issued an executive order to keep families together when detained. Although the court order and executive order brought families back together, technically, the period between the executive order and the zero tolerance memo was critical, with families being separated during that time. So, an important note, before April 2018, DHS and HHS did not have a system to accurately indicate children and parents separated at the border. So, unfortunately, to this day, there is a continuous search for those families separated years later. So, now I'm going to discuss my analysis. So of course, Trump's agenda it calls for mass deportation starting day one of his presidency, and with his nominees, it is foreseen that it will be accomplished. So Kristi Noem's nomination for the Department of Homeland Security is it's a little concerning due to the loyalty to former President Trump and how she will be following Trump's agenda. This, of course, will result in the possibility of mass deportations. And next, we have Pam Bondi as Attorney General, the nominee as Attorney General. As a Trump loyalist, Bondi has expressed similar concerns related to immigration issues like President-elect Trump. And this is a reason for concern due to her loyalty to the Trump administration, which can lead to pushing an immigration and a restrictionist immigration agenda similar to President Trump. Actually, during her confirmation hearing, when asked by Senator Hirono if she agreed with um, statements made by President Trump in regards to illegal immigration poisoning the blood of our nation, Ms. Bondi did not denounce and simply stated that she was not very similar with the statement that President Trump made. So I have two recommendations within this briefing. The two recommendations to the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Health and Human Services to consider under the new Trump administration to prevent family separations through the implementation of mass deportations. So first is to ensure the data system and communications are clear to be prepared to conduct mass deportations during the next 4 years. And second, a deportation system that prioritizes individuals with higher level criminal records, gradually addressing those with lower level offenses. So this creates a system where instead of mass deportations altogether, it is a slower process to prevent any miscommunication during the detention process. For example, if a person entering the United States has previously used a different identification, they should be prioritized for deportation. Mass deportations are difficult to conduct due to the personnel, resources, budget, and housing to successfully deport them, especially if President-elect Trump wants to beat the record under the previous administration, the Obama administration, then there are reasons to be concerned. So that's all I have for my briefing today. I would like to thank everyone for listening to my briefing, and thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let me know.